I'm Taya DiCarlo. I'm a realtor in the South Bay of Los Angeles. I'm a boy mom and a pretty active content creator. How is this piece of content going to add to someone's life? Like, I don't have to do business with everybody. I'm very intentional.
First thing I want to talk about, I think it was in 2015, you said everyone was posting their pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah.
You said, but you did also feel, insecure, understandably, about showing up on camera. You weren't on social media at that point. Why did you start making videos and making content?
Well, I felt like there was an opportunity there because I had had my license since 2006 and I had a few deals under my belt. And my thought was, if people knew me, like if more people knew me and knew how amazing I was at this, they would hire me.
Yeah.
And so I just figured, if I'm one step ahead of the curve here and I start mixing my on-camera experience from when I was a performer, doing improv, acting, TV hosting, and I went to school for journalism.
Okay.
I was like, I can take what I'm good at and
combine all that.
And combine it and see what happens.
And so was there like a push though? Because I'd read you were an assistant or an admin for someone in the industry.
Yes.
Were they making videos or like what kind of even, was there, an influencer or something? Like what?
No, well, what's interesting, and actually my first boss, Cindy Ambule, we've actually, since then, we've collaborated together. She's one of the top agents in the entire country.
Okay.
I mean, the woman crushes it. You should look her up. She's
okay.
amazing. But her past life prior to real estate, she was an actress. And she's married to a soap star. So for me working for her, there's this sort of charisma that you have in sales that if you have experience acting or performing or even just doing improv, you have a leg up on the competition, I think.
I agree.
So there was no one that was influencing me per se once I branched out on my own to make content for real estate. I just was trying to find a faster way there because I was like, I hate door knocking, I hate cold calling, and I was doing all the traditional things. And I thought, well, what if I just put myself out there? Other people are posting these, sepia toned, like pictures. Like, what if I just put myself out there?
And so, did you get any like positive feedback in those first couple of years, or was it like I want to? Okay. And so, how did you push through that? Because I always do. I hear and feel my own journey like it's like you get the excitement to make those first few videos and then it's just kind of like the reality of
I just unlocked a memory. Okay, so when I started making content for real estate on my Instagram page, I was not in the content.
What year was this?
This had to have been right when I joined Compass. So I was making content, but I didn't have my face on there.
Okay.
I was putting content
properties
on. And my Instagram handle was Taya DiCarlo Properties. I was like,
okay.
No, it was Hermosa Living.
Okay.
What?
Not even your name.
No,
not even your name.
It was so dumb. I was like, I had hermosaliving.com. It was all like lifestyle stuff, as if I was only going to be selling real estate in the South Bay.
You were an AI profile before AI was around.
I mean, who knows? But I'll never forget, actually, I had joined Compass, and this was in the fall of 2017, and I was at Stephanie Younger had a broker's open where she was serving food, and there was a admin there, this adorable blonde with glasses, and she started talking to me, and she goes, "Let me see your Instagram." She goes, "Well, you're so cute, and you used to be an actor and TV host. Why aren't you in that?" And I was like, "Well, I don't want to be like into myself." And she's like, "Who says you're into yourself?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, I don't want people to talk shit about me and think that I'm conceited or that I'm like boastful or whatever." And she's like, "I would watch you. I want to hear what you have to say."
Right.
And so I was like, all right. And so I just dipped my toe in it. And before you know it, I started getting more followers and more views. But this was like, 50 views?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody besides my mom and my close friends.
Right.
And then I heard people were like talking shit about me on the side.
That's always the first step, I feel like.
That hurt my feelings.
Yeah, of course.
And I didn't want to do it, but I continued.
And so is there anything that made you just continue there, or was it like...
I ended up getting a little stint on, it was like a HGTV Rent or Buy. And this was right before then. And that was kind of the tipping point where I was like, maybe there's something here. maybe me proving myself on camera, people will start believing it. And even if it's not my close friends, I had a lot of friends of mine, I won't mention names, who did business with other agents and not me. And that was a blow to my ego. Yeah. But I also felt like, well, who could blame them? If there's a lack of trust there and they don't think I can do the job, well, then I'm going to have to prove myself otherwise. And people who don't know me, maybe we can build that bond that way, that if they see that I'm doing this job, that I was videotaping brokers opens, and clients of mine who were following me were like, oh my God, I didn't know you sold duplexes. I didn't know you did triplexes. And before you know it, you're having these instant message and conversations.
Yeah, the conversations I feel like is the best way to simplify, I feel like, the whole goal of social media. Like I feel like sometimes people get lost in, going viral or getting a bunch of vanity metrics, but it's just like having real conversations with people is kind of the whole point at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, that's an ego boost. But when you have people DMing you and they're like, hey, I didn't know you could do that. Or wow, I didn't realize that's what you specialize in. Yeah. And it's magic when you think of it on a micro level.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to get business results too at the end of the day, like actually sell homes or grow a business. And so was your, like at that point, was it just an immediate success and like momentum and like selling homes, or like fast forward a little bit to where I think it was 2020 when you started doing Tiz 2 cents, right? Yeah. And so like there's definitely traction and momentum there. I think you started to sell a couple luxury homes from social media like 2021. And
that was the tipping point. Prior to that, I would say between 2014 and 2020, so like 6 years, I had 2 kids, right? And I was pregnant 3 times. And so it was like, and as a woman, you're like starting and stopping, starting and stopping. And so every time you gain this momentum, you want to take some time off to like breastfeed your kid and be at home. I mean, it's like it's like nature, right? For me.
Yes.
And so every time I fell back off the horse, got back on, as far as my business was concerned, I felt like after my second child, he was born in 2016. By 2018, I was on stage at Tom Ferry's Success Summit. And I had like my big, Tom X talk. It's like TEDx type stuff. And that, I remember I went from having like a couple thousand followers to all of a sudden 4,000 followers overnight. And I felt like that was such a big deal. Yeah. I was like, 4,000 followers? Who are these people? Oh my God.
That's like a mini like stadium.
Yeah, yeah. And after that, I got a different coach. And that coach...
Is this Jason Pantana?
Jason Pantana. This was in 2019.
This is when he challenged you to have a plan.
Yeah. He goes, well, what? He goes, when are you making videos? I was like, whenever I'm inspired. I'm like typical creative, artsy person. I'm like, well, I wasn't feeling it. Yeah. So, but that day I was feeling it. And he's like, well, what if you felt it and just shot content and planned it out and had a structure? Yeah. And so that's when, in 2020, I hired a full-time assistant and I started content banking. Okay. And I built in my house. I built like a studio in my spare bedroom, and I started filming in my house and outsourcing the editing. Yeah. And so from there, I was, posting videos every single week.
So going back to a little bit of like what your coach was saying and that almost that, first you started making videos, which is a huge, milestone in of itself, right? Yeah. And then this idea of like, you don't always feel like it. And I imagine over the last few years, there were more than once or twice where maybe you didn't feel like it, but you maybe have people like your coach or other people, kind of reminding you it's good for your business, this and that. Like, how do you show up when you don't feel like it, I guess is the question.
Oh my God. Well, definitely over the last few years, I have not been in the mood to make content where, if you're going through any sort of adversity, whether it's you're suffering from a loss or any challenge in life, and that's life, right? I mean, that's one of the most relatable things about being human is you can be guaranteed that something challenging is going to happen. And if you only went to the gym when you felt like it, you would never go, right? And Ricky and Derek are my videographers who I've been working with now for over 4 years. And during my hard times, they were the ones reaching out to me and they're like, Taya, like, we got you. And there were times when I showed up and they would have like bouquets of flowers and a card. They were like, you got this.
That's so cool.
I mean, I think Ricky and Derek got me these like panels that have like motivational phrases. And I mean, they brought me to tears so many times, but as soon as I would show up, the energy of the room changed. And even if I didn't know what it was I was going to talk about, we got into action. And I think that's something I learned from Mel Robbins' book, right? She's like, you know, you're stuck, which I think it's called the high five method, or she's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, right? And that's what I would do. Just like tell yourself, okay, I can allow myself to cry or to be pissed off or be angry. Set a timer.
Yeah.
Get those feelings out. Don't stifle them. Like let the fog pass.
It's like that.
And then go.
I get this kind of like voice in my head around like, you know, it's on one hand, it's like, it's okay to take a break. Like, it's okay to like, if you need like, you know, the afternoon, or if you need to like rest and recharge or something like that. But then I'm constantly battling like that voice of like, you know, needing to push or needing to show up. And it's just that sometimes I have this like tension between, you know, showing up versus, I guess, listening to yourself or something.
You have to allow that time to listen to yourself and to take time off. But the time off can't be too long.
Yeah.
That's what I learned the hard way.
Yeah, you can't kind of like you said, get stuck or dwell. And so movement creates the momentum.
Yeah, and look, no one is saying fake it until you make it. That phrase kind of irks me a little bit, because I feel like this day and age, people can sense the fakeness.
Yes.
And sometimes the 100%. Faking it can do more harm than good.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And also, there's such a thing as oversharing, right? Then people think that you're milking it or taking advantage or
doing it to make content.
Exactly. And it's like, fuck, nobody, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's such a fine line. So I think that planning it out and having content that you're like, okay, I'm going to feel my feelings right now. I'm going to deal with what I'm dealing with. And then I'm going to create value. If you take the focus off yourself and put it on the audience, and you're like, what does the audience need?
Yeah.
It's not what does Taya need right now? What does Connor need right now? It's like, what do my clients need right now?
Yeah. It's crazy how much people can relate to either some of the adversity or the challenges that we're going through, even in like the ways that we don't like to maybe always admit on social media. Like, I remember putting in my stories like a year ago that I was going through like one of the roughest years of my life, and you know, I didn't even explain details or this and that, but like had almost countless friends reaching out and you know, having conversations, and mostly I think because a lot of them are going through similar challenges or you know,
well, and the fear is that there's going to be people out there who don't want to do business with you.
Right.
Fuck those people.
Right. It's like this. It's like this. I have to come off stronger or pretend. You know.
Oh my God! I had a client of mine, and I'm just going to say it because like we've done the deal now and we got it done, and at the end it was all kumbaya, handshakes and everything. But there came a point in the transaction, I wasn't even complaining about anything, but she said to me, you know, your personal life and your divorce and whatever it is that you're going through, the fact that I had pneumonia from the flu or whatever, she goes, is not our problem. And it's like, look, at the end of the day, we're all humans just trying to do our job.
Yeah.
If you wanted a robot to do it, then hire a robot or go on Redfin or be a for sale by owner.
Yeah.
But if you want empathy from me with whatever you're going through, you're going to have to show me a little bit about it.
That's really what it is. I think sometimes there's a lot of like, I don't know what to call it, like hate watchers, like sometimes people out there that are, it's almost like triggering for them, but it's a way of continuing to like, you know, stay close to whatever it is that they're watching. But yeah, there's a topic I want to relate it to, but kind of shift to and ask you on. So like creating content, like I think you and I both know too, there's crazy upside and like all these opportunities, relationships, genuine like just benefits that can come from it. And there's definitely like a dark side, like people who make content and kind of get lost in the, you know, showing up or, you know, doing that before taking care of like, you know, their business or their whatever it is that's in their life. And so do you think making content makes people like better? Like there's this idea where I feel like making content creates self-reflection. It almost like forces self-awareness. Yeah. And so have you felt that at all over the last few, like 5+ years in making content?
Yeah. I mean, I have had some moments where you have to catch yourself, because as a human being, we are very self-aware, right? And we think that people are worried about us or talking about us when really they're just worried about themselves, right? Yep. And so for me, the big aha moment has been, and I mean this lovingly about myself, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Especially not more than you do about or I do about ourselves.
And you can see that through two different perspectives. You can see that as womp womp.
Yeah.
That's a Debbie Downer comment.
Yeah.
Or you can see it as, wow, what an opportunity to have freedom.
Yeah.
If nobody gives a fuck, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go roller skate with the knee-high socks. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, let's get out there. You can
dance in your Michael Jackson outfit.
Let's go have some fun. And there's this sense of like letting go. I mean, there's a book out there that I started. I'm right now reading so many different books, but it's like the top regrets of the dying. And one of the top regrets of the dying is worrying about what people think about us.
Yeah.
They don't care. They care about our well-being. Our friends and the people who matter care. Yeah. But everyone else, I have learned through my own personal experience from making content and just being now in my 40s, and I know I have a lot more to learn too, for anybody older watching this, it's like there's a lot more wisdom to be had, but like there has been this shift for me that I now make content to be a contribution. I try my best to not be so self-reflective where you're making content to feed the ego. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there are times when I'm like, I'm feeling myself. I'm like, girl, you know, you're working it, mama. Pat on the back. Okay. Like, I'm at the gym. I'm like, look at those muscles pop, whatever. And that's okay. Because if that's going to inspire someone to get up and move their body and love themselves, so be it. Right? I constantly try and ask myself, how can I be a contribution to others? How is this piece of content going to add to someone's life? Is it going to educate them about the real estate process? Is it going to inspire a single parent? Yeah. Is it going to make someone laugh? Is it going to motivate someone to move their body? Is it going to help someone be more spiritual, right? And ask yourself, like, what is this life for? I don't know. Like, the older I get and the more adversity I've been through, the more I've paused and thought, like, why am I working? Yeah. Right? Why am I making this content? And that's honestly what keeps me focused and what keeps me going.
Yeah. I think that at that thought exercise of asking yourself, why are you even doing it, is actually underrated. Like, I think I get the sense a lot of people go out and start making videos because it's like, well, I hear it's important and I'm just trying to get a lot of views, so I'll set my pants on fire or do whatever it is. Yeah. But it's just like being intentional about a long-term plan. It's just kind of, lost these days. Probably.
Well, and knowing who you're talking to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's marketing 101. Right. Like, if you, like, for me, studying journalism in college, it was like, okay, well, who's the audience of this magazine? And, because you can't say everybody. Right. And when I was an actor, it was like, well, you can't write jokes for, an entire crowd of people. You're never going to win the room. Right. But if you make jokes that you think are funny, or if you write a script that you think is sentimental or whatever, or even if you're acting, you're in the moment, like with your partner, your scene partner. Yeah. If you ever see bad acting, right? Bad acting is when the actor is worried, like, what if right now, I know a camera's right there, right? This would be an example of me worrying about me and not about you. Yeah. Like, right now, I see your eyes, we're connected. But if I was like, I don't know, Connor, and looking, how am I doing my hands? And all of a sudden I'm focused on me, the audience is totally turned off because they don't feel that human connection. And it's a subconscious thing. Yeah. So whenever I'm talking on camera or I'm producing content, that's what I'm thinking of as the audience.
That had to have been like a muscle though for you, over time. Cause it's like, I feel like even myself, when it took me over a year, like I don't know if you remember, because I think we did like an interview series, like an Instagram Live. We had to have done Instagram Live at one point here. But it's because I was so uncomfortable, like clicking record and looking at the camera. but loved having conversations and feel like
Yeah.
I could actually, you know, gradually let go of the camera and focus on the convo with the people. But it's almost taken me years to even
Of course it
be okay
has.
with making like eye contact with the lens.
Oh my God, of course. I mean, I had training in on-camera performance.
Yeah.
And it was still hard for me.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what it's like for anyone else who's not.
How do you see it evolving here in the next like few years? Like what's going to change, especially in the real estate space, in the real estate industry? Like, I mean, probably very vaguely speaking, but personal brands are going to matter. Like, is it like content is, you know, almost more crowded than ever? Like, what are some of the things you see happening even now? Or
I'm paying close attention to my kids.
Okay.
Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
And what are they attracted to?
Yeah.
Because if you ever want to stay ahead of the curve, you have to look at what the younger generation is doing.
So what are you seeing?
God, I try and monitor and like restrict YouTube. My kids, okay, this is what my kids are into. I have a 7-year-old boy and a 10-year-old boy, right? My 10-year-old boy loves quick videos, like try not to laugh videos, sports content, but nothing is professionally curated.
Right.
It is all
Very
like
raw.
Mr.
Very raw.
Beast.
Yeah, I was just saying Mr. Beast.
Loves Mr. Beast, loves a good physical challenge, right? Very much like
it's like America's Funniest Videos. From the 90s.
Yeah. And it's they don't like professional setting. Even if the lighting's bad, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They care about the content.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want to know, they actually do enjoy trivia, right? So if they're learning trivia but they don't give a shit. If the sound obviously has to be good, but they don't care about the camera stuff. My younger one, he's more into, if you just look up, so satisfying.
Okay.
Right? It's like
mowing the lawn.
No, cutting pieces of colorful clay, right?
Like, I think a lot of people are into that stuff.
I mean, that shit's satisfying, right? Yeah. But he loves tutorials where it's just the hands.
Okay.
And he's like learning crafty shit.
Yeah.
He can sit there for fucking hours and watch tutorials on like cakes. He likes to watch how cakes are made.
It sounds like almost the difference between, let's say, our generation and kind of maybe this new is like what's 30-second produced, very curated. It's kind of almost like uncorking into, you know, long form.
Yes, they like long form.
Maybe even live streaming.
They will watch a live stream. They will watch long form as long as they feel like they're there.
Substances, yeah.
They want to feel like they're there, like they're watching something unfold.
Yeah.
Right? Like my younger one will sit there and watch like, you know, those weird cakes that don't look like cakes. This chick's got like multi-millions of followers on YouTube. She's making cakes that look like golf balls. Do you know what I mean? It's like so weird. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, this is fascinating. How can this apply to real estate?
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what should realtors do? Like, how are you taking this into your world and kind of
I ask my kids. I show them my videos.
Mm-hmm. You ask them, like, how would you make it better?
Yes. Like, my boyfriend and I went to Sedona, okay? And we were pranking each other. And they loved it.
Okay.
Okay, these videos, my boyfriend will not allow me to post these videos.
Come on.
They're so funny. I will ask him. But like, I showed my kids. I was like scaring him, like popping out of nowhere. Okay. Or like, I got out of the car and I went to go grab the car door and he started driving away. My kids asked to see that video probably 50 times.
It's the fun stuff.
The fun stuff where it's authentic reactions.
Yeah.
And they also really like when they like to laugh, but because they're kids, right?
Right.
But I'm always amazed by how they're like, no, I want to see that. They want to see storytelling.
Like the behind the scenes?
Yes.
Or okay.
They like behind the scenes. They like storytelling. They love a good home tour.
Yeah. It's like, how's the thing made?
They love how things are made. They love, like, they try not to laugh stuff. And they love home tours. They will watch a home tour.
Okay. I know. I actually will sit down and throw YouTube on and put like luxury home tours on late at night.
But they don't need a full like sexy swoop like mute. They actually want like a body camera going through the house. It's like, oh wait, Mom, go back to that. What was that?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. Right? They want to be behind the scenes.
Okay. I have one more question on that, and then some like rapid fire topics that I want to get into here. But
we could talk forever.
Seriously, on a lot of this, I'm very into it. Okay, So let me see. I want to stick with like the kids thing. So I've got 4 kids, you've got young kids. We're talking about how much social media plays a big role in our lives, but also trying to be aware of, you know, the role it can play in our kids' lives, good and bad.
Yeah.
And we've even talked about how like, I think I read somewhere, and this was maybe the quote or the right words, but like something like creating the content has sort of helped put a magnifying glass on, you know, parts of your life. And we brought up self-reflection and self-awareness. Like for your kids, what are the conversations that you're
about
having
social media?
About social media and their usage? So there's the paying attention to what they're actually interested in, but what's like the conversation around, you know, the good, bad, ugly, I guess, of that with the next generation.
I might be a contrarian, but and who knows? Who knows if this video will like resurface later to be like to see what did I really end up doing? I am not going to allow my kids to have social media until they're 18.
Okay.
But that's me.
Yeah.
Right. My kids do not have smartphones.
I think it's reasonable. I mean,
I'm kind of like the data is out there. I do let them consume certain things with boundaries on YouTube or on, but my kids are not allowed to scroll Instagram. They're not on any, they do not have access to that. I'm
currently the same. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how contrarian that take even is. I think a lot of people do agree, but it's probably, you're right. Cause I do see in restaurants, like most parents can't even have their kids like sit at a dinner table without like, an iPad. And so how do we, because it is such a powerful tool, especially for this next generation. Like we obviously didn't have it when we were that age, but like, how do we develop a healthy relationship around it? And so I agree. My quick current, like you said, we'll see how long I hold on to this strategy as the kids get older, but similar, but instead of maybe an exact age, my one rule I'm telling them is once you can buy the iPhone and pay for the monthly bill, then you can earn the right to go on the internet. But I'm not gonna like pay the ongoing,
Yeah, well, even with like video games and stuff, like for me, I'm like, I right now am trying my best to hold the line.
Limit
it because the data is out there. But what I have noticed as far as, because a lot of parents have messaged me and asked me, how often do you put your kids on Instagram or whatever? And like when they were babies, I would incorporate at least 24-hour stories. But if you go on my page, you won't see like a static post that often unless it's the holidays or it's something that like I'm going to be sending out to like the dentist and the doctor's office, with our family together and everything. But my kids are at the age now where they will specifically tell me, you don't have permission to take a picture of me.
That's fair.
And I'm like, oh, or my oldest one, you don't have my consent.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, I feel like I'm a good boy mom then, teaching consent at a very young age.
Exactly.
But my kids are very vocal. They've learned now,
to speak for themselves.
To say, hey, excuse me, I didn't say you could take my picture. Or what are you doing with that video? Right? And I'm glad that my kids are aware because that's something that I think parents and kids alike, we've learned through this period. What's cool and what's not to do, like what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And we have failed forward with that. And I think that like the teenage and early 20s generation right now is struggling. Right?
I mean, there's all kinds
Gen
of
Z, I think
there's all kinds of viral clips. I'm sure we could kind of joke about our reference where it's like the internet is so permanent to some of these reputations that I don't know that.
And some of these kids that are made into memes and stuff, like my kids are just, and the worst thing for a child is to be embarrassed.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm very protective of that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, I want to get into some quotes and the reactions. So think of this as like the speed round toward the end.
Oh shit.
So each of these will be a quote that you've said, I believe. And then I want you to kind of like explain / react or just kind of elaborate on it for 20 to 40 seconds.
Okay.
Social media is a playground. Get off the bench.
Yeah. I still agree with that. You can't expect to go to the playground and want people to play with you and make new friends if you're going to sit on the bench and observe everybody.
Yeah.
You have to get on the monkey bars. You have to go down the slide. Otherwise, no one's going to want to play with you.
I've never heard but love the analogy because it's just like, it is a reminder of how much the social part is of social media. I think
Yeah.
it's easy to get lost in this like one-way communication street, but just actually going out there and like getting on a roller skates or
Yeah.
having fun with it. I really have learned over the last few years that creating content creates conversations, and it's not the actual content itself. Yes, that does that, but like the us going and skating is the conversation. Like, yeah, and so us clicking record is the conversation that's happening. And so
Yeah.
creating content
And it's
is
rewarding.
it's playing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's mutually beneficial.
cool. Love that one. All right, next one. Spend more money on quality care for yourself.
Yeah. God, when did I say that? I'm so wise. Yeah. I've gotten really big into wellness lately. And I used to spend a lot of money, going out, and I still enjoy like a good glass of wine, but like right now I've been giving myself more physical challenges and health challenges. Like this is day 38, no alcohol.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. So like, and I feel amazing. And it's just like fun experiments with myself, with health and wellness, to see like how I feel and how I can better achieve my goals and be in alignment with what I say I want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can still go out and on vacation and have a good time, or if friends come into town, have a drink or two. But like,
You seem like such a driven, ambitious, leader of the family, boys' business that like, I think sometimes I'm sure I've seen this, when my own mother was a little bit this way, sometimes just pausing to invest in yourself.
Yeah, whether it's going to a Pilates class or I've gotten big into going to like the Korean spa and like getting a scrub and like soaking or taking that extra time at the gym to sit in the sauna. Or like last night, my kids were with their dad, and on a whim, I was like, you know what? I'm going to yin yoga. I'm going to do some hot yin. And out of nowhere, I was like, and it was expensive. It's like $38 to drop in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 6-hour day of doggy daycare for my puppy.
But the investment in yourself, the ROI on that is just.
I had a spiritual experience last night. I mean, who knew? A friend of mine was like teasing me. She goes, "You cried in yoga." I'm like, Google it. It's totally normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hips hold a lot of emotion.
I was releasing.
It's true. But no, I have no problem spending money. I get massages pretty often. I take care of my skin. I spend a lot of money on wellness because I feel like if I feel good, then my kids get the best version of me.
Yeah.
And if they're my why, then I just need to be in alignment with that. And it's just, I'm spending more money on that than I am anything else now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's the whole point. All right. Here's another one. We got 3 or 4 more.
This is fun.
Yeah. All right. So get familiar with your own patterns, because how you do one thing is how you're going to show up for everything.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I said that? Wow.
What are your patterns?
Oh my God. Well, what I have found is that when you go through hard times and you experience adversity, at least for me, I'm speaking for myself, is that you fall back into old patterns from childhood that maybe are not the healthiest, right? And if you can experience yourself as, I don't know if you've ever read the book, The Power of Now, by Eckhart Tolle or Eckhart Tolle. But he talks about how when you have conversations with yourself, observe the fact that when you're talking to yourself, there's also another almost like character observing the conversation. Yeah. So you are not those internal thoughts. Right? And so for me, self-awareness has allowed me to go, oh, I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
You're making your little ADHD piles. You're right. Like
you're splitting your reality.
Oh my God. Like
so that you can...
I look at if my car gets messy, I'm like, girl, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
Right. Because then your career is going to get messy. And then look at all the clothes in your room, and you start getting your little ADHD piles.
Yeah.
People with ADHD make piles. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is relatable content.
Yes.
But it's like when I find myself doing that, I can recognize the pattern and go, okay. And for me personally, I don't there are things that catchphrases in life that we hear a lot where like, oh, the universe is testing me. God is testing me, right? And I don't like that phrase because I feel like it's negative.
Yeah.
My therapist, who's like my fairy godmother, she goes, well, what if, words are really important, right? And the reason why they call it spelling is because words cast spells. So be very careful and particular about the words that you choose. And so, sorry, I was getting like distracted by him mopping.
Yeah.
But so instead of saying that the universe is testing me, I tell myself the universe is giving me an opportunity to use the tools that I've acquired.
Yeah.
That's empowering.
It's trippy because I do think there's we could get really woo-woo probably, but like I do believe that anytime we're kind of going through some sort of a stress, whether it's like physical to, working out or some emotional adversity, it's like the precise feeling that's needed in order to develop the muscle or develop the strength to actually, like you said, put the tools together and grow to that next level.
Yeah.
So love it. Good stuff. All right, next one. Let's see. I like this one, a little empathetic. Stop blaming your parents. They did the best they could with what they knew.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. And we, before this, we talked a little bit about like, my parents or just, our own upbringing and stuff. So like, that one definitely hits. Like what made you say that, or what do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that, when you're a child, you idolize your parents and they walk on water and you really do feel like they have all the answers. And now that I'm a parent, I'm like,
yeah, I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, but the difference is that like in the 80s and the 90s, your parents, as much, both my parents said this, because I said so. Stop talking back. Don't act like you don't have all the answers. And it's a lot of gaslighting.
Right.
But now with my kids, I know better, right? And when you know better, you do better. Now, when I catch myself doing or saying what my parents did, even though some of the shit was good that they did, some of the stuff I'm like, I'm going to tweak that. I say to my kids, hey, look, guys, I don't have all the answers. And I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning. Did you know that even at 42, I'm learning new things every day, even with the internet at my fingertips?
Yeah.
And I humble myself in front of them because I want them to know, like, you can still look up to me,
right,
and still know that, like, I'm allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think if anything, it almost probably teaches or gives them permission to not be perfect or something, or feels like, okay, I don't have to have the pressure to be the superwoman that my mom is, like, because she's a real human that has, setbacks or challenges. Or
totally. And the best piece of advice I got recently from a child psychologist, Brianna, she said, anytime and I'm sharing this because I feel like the advice that she's given me with my children can easily be applied to any adult relationship or to yourself for your business, right? This is always circling back to like your business, is that get curious about the emotion, not about solving the problem.
Yeah.
Right? So when your child's frustrated, when you're frustrated with your business, get curious about where that emotion is coming from.
Yeah, I like that.
And then through that curiosity, you're led down the path to shift gears, to pivot, to come up with a solution. But if you're like, I need to solve this problem and God, I'm the worst, and all this negative self-talk or shaming your child for making a mistake, instead of going, I'm really curious why you're so angry right now, or why you're so sad right now. And like, it's a pathway, I think, to growth.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, one more here. Okay, so last one. Let everybody off the hook and start looking at yourself.
Ooh, when did I say that?
That was a heavy one.
Damn. Let everybody, say it again?
Let everyone off the hook and start looking at yourself. So almost like
accountability.
Extreme ownership kind of.
Yeah, extreme ownership. I took a seminar once, and like the big aha moment I got from that seminar was that the power of choice. Right? So even if you get a parking ticket, you have a choice to park there. You have a choice to put money in the meter. You have a choice to take a risk, right? And the moment you acknowledge that you have ownership in that is where you get the freedom to go, okay, now I can choose differently next time, right? Like if you ever lose a client, instead of going, well, they did this and they did that, asking yourself, well, what was my role in this? And not to shame yourself, not to say I coulda, shoulda, woulda done better, to go, what choices did I make in this situation that led to this outcome? Almost like the butterfly effect, right? Yeah. And what different choices can I make in the future to have a different experience for the client, for myself, for my family, whatever. Kind of like when it comes to someone breaking your trust, right? It's not like you're going to go, I'm never going to trust anyone again.
Right. You learn the wrong lesson there. But if you can, if you can take ownership, or at least ask the question, what role did I play?
Yeah, what role did I play, right? And that trusting is a beautiful thing, and that I can just make different choices with the type of people, right? And I can exercise boundaries. And I think that is where, again, like real growth in your business, in self-development, it all starts with us. And I think that when we're too focused on growing our business and not interested in growing ourselves in relationships, that's when there's a huge shutdown. Yeah. Because you can make a shit ton of money in real estate. You can make a lot of money. And actually, the time in my career when I was making the most money is when I was the most miserable. And now I know, like, okay, well, if all the money is not the answer, I'm like, wait, are you telling me money doesn't buy you happiness? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, no, it doesn't. Yeah, it really, really doesn't.
You have to get there to find out.
Yes, and it shines a magnifying glass because you get to the top and you go, fuck, it's so lonely up here. Wow. Yeah. And you see these people who are successful and they're miserable. Yeah. And it's like an aha moment where you go, okay, well, money is important. Don't get me wrong. You need money to do fun things. Right. But you have to like make sure that you take care of yourself and focus on the different type of growth, the growth that matters, right? The intellectual growth, the spiritual growth, the like self-development. Because I think that leads to like true fulfillment. Yeah. I'm starting to sound like really heady right now, but it's, for me, that's what has really been an aha moment for me. And I'm excited. You'll notice in a lot of my content, like I've shifted gears in my branding and who I am, because life has given me these sort of pivots, and I don't see life anymore as this. Right. Right? It's not linear. It's not like if you fail. Right. It's a jungle gym. It's not like if you fail at something, you're taking 2 steps back. It's not like you're scaling this mountain. If the path is not linear, then going backwards, you're still on track.
Yeah. I mean, I am so grateful that you started that journey through that jungle gym. And I know there are a ton of other people that have, been watching your story and continue to watch your story. And so again, just super inspired by everything you do and grateful for what you do.
Oh, this is so great. Who knew we were going to have such a deep conversation?
I know. I was going to say, it definitely was a little bit, different topic than just like marketing surface level stuff. So I like that.
Yeah, but this is where I'm at in my life right now. It's like my content comes from my desire to grow in like a more like self-development way.
Personal journey.
Personal development, right? In my relationships. And now I'm attracting clients that are in alignment. Right. I can actually say I love all of my clients. The people I do business with now, I enjoy them.
Your vibe's attracting your tribe.
Oh my God. And all the bad people, I'm like, let me refer you to someone. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't have to do business with everybody. I'm very intentional now.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to see where it all goes. Super grateful for my friend Taya DiCarlo. Really good times just recording this conversation, hitting the boardwalk, chilling. She's really had a big impact on me, and I know a lot of people, just the way that she's such an open book, willing to share about her personal and professional journey. Thankful for everything she's been doing. Hope you all enjoyed this episode, and I will see you at the next one. All right, peace.